Tonight, faculty and students at CNC remember victims at Dawson College. Is an inland port really a possibility for Prince George? Another somber day for Canadian troops in Afghanistan. And the Montreal Canadiens honor two of their greats.
From the Prince George Broadcast Center, this is PG-TV News at 5 with Dave Barry.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. There has been plenty of talk around the establishment of an inland port in Prince George, but to the average person, there seems to be very little progress on that front. According to Initiatives Prince George, work is well underway to establish the facility in the Prince George area in time for the opening of the new container port in Prince Rupert.
It may not seem like it to the average resident of Prince George, but there has been some significant progress on an inland port in our city. That according to the president of Initiatives Prince George, Jerry Offett, who says, in fact, there's more than one proposal in the works.
There are two business proposals that are well into the planning stages. We've been working with both groups for more than a year now. And these are kind of going to form the nucleus of a port facility, and that we can build on it from there.
Offett says the movement of goods from Asia to Toronto and Chicago is not Prince George's niche market. Rather, it's the manufacturing centre sending goods back to Asia that we need to capitalize on. And with that, the shippers are critical. Jim Feeney with Sens says there are a number of parties, such as the shippers, who will determine where that inland port will go.
Other parties have to be involved, whether that be government or whether it be the people that control the containers. See, the railway does not control the flow of containers for overseas containers. They don't belong to us. We're merely carrying them from one place to another. So other people, other stakeholders have to be involved at some point in the process.
But Offett says that private sector involvement is precisely why there has been no outward signs of progress.
The private sector businesses who are concerned about this are moving. It's just that from a public perspective, we aren't hearing confirmation of that moving or seeing anything. But I think I'm reasonably certain that in the next couple of months we are going to see some of that.
So it begs the next question. So on a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah.
How certain are you that we have something coming?
I'd say 9.
Offett says we should start to see some clear direction in a couple of months. Cheryl Jan, PG-TV News.
Meantime, the president of Initiatives Prince George, Jerry Offett, was set to retire from his post early in the new year after 4 years on the job. However, the board for Initiatives will no longer have to look for his replacement. That's because Offett says he's had far too much fun at the job to give it up now.
I'm not retiring as to the new year. That my board and I have agreed that I'm staying through to 2007, and next year at this time we'll reassess the situation and make another decision.
The College of New Caledonia took time to recognize students who were killed and injured in last week's shooting at Montreal's Dawson College. Students and faculty at the institution honored the victims with a moment of silence today. 1 week ago today, a gunman burst into the Montreal school and began firing at random. An 18-year-old girl was killed and 19 others were injured in the rampage.
As part of the Canadian Federation of Students, we've worked a number of times on side with Dawson College and the members there on several educational issues, and it just seemed fitting and appropriate that our members here at this campus stand in solidarity and remembrance of the tragic loss.
Students were also invited to express their sympathies by signing a large card of condolence, which will be sent to Dawson College. Hundreds of construction workers walked off the job and held a rally in downtown Vancouver today. They want foreign workers to stop being used on local projects. However, they made it clear their battle isn't with the foreign workers, but with the government and the companies hiring them.
We'll all be in trouble. They're talking about bringing people here, making them second-class citizens, not giving them the right to have the decent conditions, and if they get in trouble, we're talking about sending them back home. Those aren't nation builders, sisters and brothers. Those are cheap labor being exploited by the companies.
Meantime, the Independent Contractors and Business Association BC says foreign workers are needed to fill a serious labor shortage. With only an axe and a compass, local hikers have cut a path through one of the world's only inland temperate rainforests. It was all done to enable more people to enjoy one of our local gems.
Stretching through a forest of 1,000-year-old cedar trees, the Driscoll Ridge trails are nestled into the heart of the interior rainforest near Slim Creek.
Many characteristics of the coastal rainforests, and dominated by very large cedar, some of them over 3 meters, the largest ones we know of over 4 meters in diameter. And the understory is dominated by Devil's Club. And the forest complex, the forest complex there includes many unique species of lichens and other plants that are just not found anywhere else in the interior.
The trails are a product of hundreds of hours of volunteer labor. They've been developed for families who enjoy the backcountry, although the 17-kilometer Driscoll Ridge loop will challenge even the most experienced hiker.
There's been 26 trips involving about 50 different people, and some of these people have been out there several times. And he estimates about 1,400 hours of time been put into development of these trails, both the nature trail and this Driscoll Ridge trail that goes up over the top.
Trails like these are beginning to be seen as more than just a way to enjoy BC's natural wonders. But these paths through nature are being recognized for their positive economic benefit they can produce. By all accounts, the beauty of these trails could bring tourists into our region.
I think it could grow into one of these things that Prince George or area is known for, because I think that it's got some spectacular things to offer in terms of the ecosystem and the large cedar trees and sort of this area where a lot of different species all mix. Not to say that you're going to see them all at once in one place, but I think it's a pretty special area.
This is the first major backcountry trail to be built in the region over the last several years. Its official opening is Sunday morning at the trailhead, 113 kilometers east of Prince George. Dave Branco, PG-TV News.
Power has been knocked out to about 350 hydro customers on the Heart. Power went out around 4 o'clock this afternoon on Aberdeen, Walker, McTavish roads along with Aintree Drive. One caller to our newsroom says phone service is out as well. BC Hydro is investigating the cause of the outage and says power should be restored around 6:30 this evening. A Lower Mainland man is lucky to be alive today. Last night he went to sleep in his fifth-wheel trailer, but he woke up outside. An explosion caused by a propane leak blew him out of his bed. The trailer was destroyed and 11 other nearby RVers were also damaged. The 87-year-old Aldergrove man was taken to hospital with chest pains and first-degree burns. With a lifespan of more than 140 years, geoducks are the longest living organism on Earth. They can be also downright tasty. Now, some Vancouver restaurants are beginning to serve the giant clams, but not without controversy over plans to farm them.
Think West Coast fare, and it's likely that mussels, oysters, and shrimp come to mind. But increasingly, seafood lovers in BC are being presented with new, unconventional choices.
Diners are are more and more educated, isn't the right word, just more interested in what is available here and are more adventurous in trying new things.
One kind of locally grown exotic seafood that's being unveiled to the masses is geoduck, a large clam that was once sold almost exclusively to the local Chinese community or shipped to East Asia, but not anymore.
We shouldn't sell 98% of all, for instance, of all geoduck to Asia. Maybe we can serve or sell or promote here locally. And you see it, you're seeing it more and more all the time.
It also helps that the geoduck market is a lucrative one. The DFO has only issued 55 licenses, and that helps keep prices high, $45 a kilo locally. And it's not just geoducks that are being aggressively marketed.
Last night, we actually served the first farmed abalone. We got the shipment yesterday and we served it to some people last night. And it's an exciting time for chefs.
Sea Restaurant has just launched the first legally farmed pinto abalone. It's a slightly different species than the northern abalone, which was banned for harvesting since 1990. The new abalone is environmentally friendly, but conservationists warn that seafood farming or aquaculture may not be the answer.
They're either in problems with contamination, There are problems with contaminating local rivers with invasive species.
Plus, geoducks are farmed on beaches, competing for limited space.
The beaches are quite unique, and they're used for tourism and recreation, and there's a lot of natural wildlife and biological diversity that is inherently in a beach. So we don't want to see all our beaches turned to aquaculture production.
But so far, geoducks and abalone are just a tiny part of BC's aquaculture industry. An environmental fight is only likely if a lot more of us develop a huge taste for big clams. Doris Sun, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now the thumbs up good news story of the day, brought to you by Pacific Western Brewery, the biggest little brewery, makers of Canterbury and Pacific Pilsner.
It's a mad rush against time, but good news. It appears workers with the City of Prince George will have the ice at the CN Centre ready for the opening game of the Cougars home schedule Friday. However, fans will notice advertising logos, and even the big Cougar logo at Centre Ice will be missing. The ice was rebuilt after a series of problems were discovered last week.
Early this week, we made the decision that the best way to move forward was to take the ice out completely and redo it and have the best quality ice for the game. That was the best way to do it. Obviously, what goes on the ice is the number one component. So the quality ice will be where we're normally at for the game by Friday. We're well on track for building ice for the rebuild to have it ready for Friday.
Housing prices have been on the rise of late, but very few people would be able to carry this mortgage. Here's a look at the world's largest log home and the most expensive home for sale in Canada. While some might guess this home stands in Whistler or perhaps the Laurentian Mountains, it's in our own backyard on the shores of Moberly Lake, northwest of Chetwynd. The 55,000 square foot lodge is for sale for a cool $25 million. It boasts 10 bedrooms and 16 bathrooms. Next on the PGTV News, Canadian soldiers begin their final journey home. And a wonder of nature in Florida.
Feel the power, feel the speed, feel the rush, feel better about yourself when you buy a new vehicle from the Trucks or Less dealers in Quesnel. Caribou Ford, Regency Chrysler, and Fraser River GM all cooperate to bring you the best vehicle values in BC. Feel confident, feel assured, feel satisfied. When you buy from the Trucks or Less group, you'll leave feeling like you've just made the best darn deal of your life.
Trucks are Less in Quesnel.
The runway in Kandahar was lined today with hundreds of soldiers watching as 4 coffins were loaded into a C-130 Hercules, the plane that would return their bodies to Canada. More now on the attack and those who lived through it.
Mackenzie Murphy weighs a heavy heart. He was right there when the suicide bomber committed his deadly act. Murphy's life was spared. The lives of 4 colleagues were not.
We're going to miss them extremely, and just their families got to know that we miss them lots more than anything.
And so in the fading daylight of the Afghanistan desert, Canadian soldiers gathered on the Kandahar runway to say farewell to Corporal Glenn Arnold, Corporal Shane Keating, Corporal Keith Morley, and Private David Byers. Murphy was one of the pallbearers in a ceremony that, sadly, has become all too familiar in recent months. Even on this difficult day, many survivors of the attack agreed to speak about the events Monday that altered so many lives. Corporal Miguel Dulek recalls walking and talking with Afghan villagers as a man on a bicycle approached.
We asked him what he was doing, and he said he was bringing his family back into the village after the war, and we told him we were here to help him and it was safe to come back. And then he carried on and blew himself up.
With the company's medic among the dead, Private Murphy filled in.
I just prioritized the casualties and any major bleeds, any life-threatening injuries, and tried to take care of those first and then go and work my way to the lesser of the serious. So it's the best I could until help arrived.
That help came from Corporal Morgan Spurl, who was just up the road and received the call for help on his radio.
So I had to listen to this for 15 minutes over and over, knowing who it was, knowing who was out there. When I was supposed to go pick them up. It was a long friggin' drive.
Corporal Justin Burt has been told by doctors that he'll now have to live with a chunk of shrapnel in his leg.
Yeah, I'll have to see once I actually go out there. I think I'm going to have a hard time getting near anybody, any locals. It's kind of hard to do because it's part of our job.
On this day of goodbyes, there were many stoic faces mixed with a sense of determination not to let such difficult losses undermine the mission or their purpose here. Chris Brown, CBC News, Kandahar.
Canadians have given the Softwood lumber deal lukewarm support in a poll obtained by Broadcast News. The Strategic Council survey was done for the Department of International Trade and was never meant to be made public. It shows 58% of those surveyed support the agreement despite objections from the lumber industry. Only 16% gave the deal strong support, but 83% said a negotiated settlement was far better than a long court battle. A 3 strikes and you're outlaw could soon be a reality in Canada. The federal government is preparing legislation which would make it easier to label criminals as dangerous offenders after their 3rd conviction for violent crimes. Justice Minister Vic Taves says the bill, part of the Conservative anti-crime package, will be tabled this fall.
After the individual had been convicted of 3 serious offenses, a presumption as to dangerous offender would take place, which then the person who has been convicted would have to disprove that he was not a dangerous offender.
The race to replace Ralph Klein has just kicked into high gear. The Premier of Alberta has submitted his letter of resignation as leader of the province's Progressive Conservatives.
I'm going to keep out of the race. I'm not supporting overtly, that is, any particular candidate. But, and I haven't made up my mind who I'm going to vote for. I will be voting, but I don't know who at this stage I'm going to vote for. I've said that the only legacy I really want to leave is the legacy of no deficit, no net debt, and of course no gross debt, and to look forward to a very prosperous province.
NASA had its worries, but now it says the space shuttle Atlantis is clear to land, weather permitting, tomorrow morning. At a briefing this afternoon, the shuttle program manager said 5 bits of debris spotted since yesterday have not damaged Atlantis's heat shield as first feared. And he did a little show and tell of at least one of the objects NASA suspects was behind all the worry.
This is most likely the culprit. It's not a guarantee, and I don't know that we'll ever be able to positively prove it, but a piece of plastic very much like this that's used to install tiles was there before, is not there now. The crew executed a well-planned inspection with no problems at all. We got great imagery back and can say that the heat shield is in great shape.
Friends, family, and thousands of fans paid their respects to crocodile hunter Steve Irwin in Australia today. He died 2 weeks ago when a stingray barb pierced his chest. The public memorial was held at Crocoseum, a small stadium built inside Irwin's Wildlife Park, where he regularly performed crocodile feeding shows.
But I'd like you to grieve for the animals. The animals have lost the best friend they ever had. And so have I.
My daddy was my hero. He was always there for me when I needed him. He listened to me and taught me so many things. I had the best daddy in the whole world, and I will miss him every day. When I see a crocodile, I will always think of him, and I know that Daddy made this zoo so everyone could come and learn to love all the animals. Daddy made this place his whole life. Now it's our turn to help Daddy. Thank you.
And here's something Steve Irwin would have loved to have seen, a miracle of birth in the animal world. The miracle took place underwater at SeaWorld in Florida. The mom-to-be is an orca named Katina. And after what looks like an effortless labor, out comes baby whale. It's 160 kilos heavy, 2 meters long, and there's no time for swimming lessons. It takes a long time to figure out the gender of baby orcas, so there won't be a name for a little while yet. Coming up next on the PG-TV News, Alan Bristow will have sports, and Catherine Hansen has a look at the weather for our week.
Where did I put the saw? Whoa! Gus? Gus, how long have you been here?
Since the last time we jammed. Where have you been?
Put your garage in order with the Mastercraft Garage Organization System. A quick and easy installation converts unused space into valuable storage. No matter what you're putting away, it's customizable with a 10-year warranty. Organization starts at Canadian Tire.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sid, is that you?
Take some time for yourself. Take some time to experience Aspen Grove Golf Course. This family-run course is short but challenging, located just south of Prince George in a beautiful country setting. Brush up on your skills at Aspen Grove's driving range and putting green, or relax at the clubhouse. You'll find the rates affordable and the atmosphere quiet and comfortable. Aspen Grove Golf Course, 10 minutes south of Prince George on Highway 97. The place for golf.
Welcome back. Catherine Hansen will have the weather for us in a moment, but first Alan Bristow has a check of sports for us. Alan?
Yes, and the Prince George Spurs Kings fell again last night for the second straight time the Kings dropping an overtime game. This time it was to their arch rivals from Quesnel. We'll take a look back at that contest. As well, the Prince George Cougars continue to prepare for their home opener. The Cats still have all their players in camp. 2 of those players, though, are injured. 2 still away at NHL camps, a total of 26. Although there is word Ty Wishart is on his way back. In a group of 20 as well, there's 5 still left there, and they can only play 3 on Friday, so we'll see what happens. As well, a few Montreal Canadian greats will have their numbers retired this year. Both Ken Dryden and Serge Savard will see their numbers hung from the rafters. We'll check in with the UNBC men's basketball team. They're getting ready for their season action and have a number of new faces. Plus, we'll also see why Tiger Woods is angry with a tabloid in Ireland. Watch what you say to the Tiger.
All right. Thanks very much, Al. Catherine, we have a rainfall warning just about everywhere right now. There's one in Vanderhoof, one in Quesnel, one in Prince George right now.
Lots of rainfall warnings continuing for parts of the central interior. I'm officially calling this a new season. It's the season between summer and fall. We're going to call it the rainy season. How about that?
The rainy season, I think, would be apropos after looking at what happened today.
As I mentioned, that rainfall warning continues for parts of the central interior. We're expecting another 10 to 15 millimeters to fall over the evening and then drying up slightly into tomorrow. There's quite a cool low front moving in off the Pacific and bringing with it lots of moisture, a 60% chance of rain into tomorrow, and then likely some drying into the weekend, but the rain is going to make a reappearance. Here's a look at our weather shot today, and I call this the worm's perspective. Bathing out in the rain, looking down the street. Look at our current conditions in Mackenzie. Mix of sun and cloud at 9 degrees. Elsewhere, showers in Vanderhoof, McBride, and Quesnel, sitting at 11 degrees this hour. Light rain falling in Prince George. Actually, it's dried up a bit. Clouds currently we are sitting at 9 degrees. Air quality looking good right across the board. And to our almanac, today, we reached a high of only 9 degrees where we currently sit. Normal high for this time of year, 15, so that's well below what is considered to be average. The sun, we won't see it go down at 7:14, but it will rise tomorrow at 6:54. On the satellite map now, you can see that meaty system that is just moving in right off the west coast, bringing with it lots of showers and precipitation all over BC for the next 12 to 24 hours or so. It's also quite cool, cooling down almost every community right across BC. Let's take a look at that cool low as it just moves right across. Most of the west is experiencing very cool conditions, as I mentioned, and actually all of Canada quite cool, except for out on the east coast, they're seeing a little revisit of summer. Taking a look across the country today, quite wet through the central interior, as you can see. Vancouver seeing a high of 14 today. Still chilly through Alberta and Saskatchewan. The sun did shine in Winnipeg, but temperatures only in the teens. Thunder Bay expecting a low of -2 overnight. Toronto quite cool as well, where there are patchy showers. And all the way out to the east coast, patchy showers, but more of a late summer day in Fredericton and Corner Brook, Newfoundland. Periods of rain ending near midnight in Mackenzie. Expect 5 to 10 millimeters on the way, a low of 4 degrees overnight. Clouds with sunshine tomorrow, a high of 11 degrees. Then more clouds on the way Friday and a high of 14. Rainfall warning in effect for the Vanderhoof area. 10 to 15 millimeters expected to fall overnight, a low of 5 degrees on the way. The rain will taper off tomorrow morning, then clouds with a 60% chance of showers. The wind moving in from the northwest, a high of 12 degrees, and a mix of sun and cloud on Friday with an expected high of 14. Periods of rain expected tonight in the McBride area. 5 to 10 millimeters, a low of 4 degrees. The rain will taper off tomorrow morning, making way for a mix of sun and cloud and a 60% chance of showers, a high of 9 degrees on the way. Then a mix of sun and cloud for Friday and a high of 12. Once again, a rainfall warning in effect for the Quesnel area. Expect 10 to 15 millimeters overnight, a low of 4 degrees on the way. The rain ending tomorrow morning, then clouds with sunshine and a 60% chance of showers on the way, a high of 8 degrees. Sunshine on Friday, a nice break from all the precipitation with an expected high of 12 degrees. Prince George now, we still have that rainfall warning in effect. We're expecting 10 to 15 millimeters overnight, a low of 5 degrees on the way. Rain ending tomorrow morning, turning to clouds, and then a 60% chance of showers on the way. Wind moving in from the northeast, a high of 12 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud for Friday, drying up a little bit with a high of 14 degrees. But then back on Saturday, back to a 60% chance of showers, a high of 15, and looks like more rain on the way for Sunday. So what we're seeing is just a couple of systems moving in and moving right across the west, and intermittently we're seeing a little bit of sunshine as there are gaps between those systems, which we're just being hit from the west coast currently.
Rainy season.
It's the rainy season.
Yeah, it fits. Thanks, Catherine. Coming up next on the PG-TV News, new health concerns over salt consumption. And later, a local artist who's making a living off his talents.
You're watching PG-TV, bringing CBC television to British Columbia's northern capital.
Recapping our top local stories, the College of New Caledonia took time to recognize students who were killed or injured in last week's shooting at Montreal's Dawson College. Students and faculty at the institution today honored the victims with a moment of silence. 1 week ago today, a gunman burst into the Montreal school and began firing at random. He killed an 18-year-old girl. 19 others were injured in the noon-hour rampage.
As part of the Canadian Federation of Students, we've worked a number of times on side with Dawson College and the members there on several educational issues, and it just seemed fitting and appropriate that our members here at this campus stand in solidarity and remembrance of the tragic loss.
Students were also invited to express their sympathies by signing a large card of condolence which will be sent to Dawson College. There's been plenty of talk around the establishment of an inland port in our city, but to the average person, there seems to be little progress on that front. However, according to Initiatives Prince George, work is indeed well underway to establish a facility in the Prince George area in time for the opening of the new container port in Prince Rupert.
It may not seem like it to the average resident of Prince George, but there has been some significant progress on an inland port in our city. That according to the president of Initiatives Prince George, Jerry Offett, who says, in fact, there's more than one proposal in the works.
There are two business proposals that are well into the planning stages. We've been working with both groups for more than a year now. And these are kind of going to form the nucleus of a port facility, and that we can build on it from there.
Offett says the movement of goods from Asia to Toronto and Chicago is not Prince George's niche market. Rather, it's the manufacturing centre sending goods back to Asia that we need to capitalize on. And with that, the shippers are critical. Jim Feeney with Sens says there are a number of parties, such as the shippers, who will determine where that inland port will go.
Other parties have to be involved, whether that be government or whether it be the people that control the containers. See, the railway does not control the flow of containers for overseas containers. They don't belong to us. We're merely carrying them from one place to another. So other people, other stakeholders have to be involved at some point in the process.
But Offett says that private sector involvement is precisely why there has been no outward signs of progress.
The private sector businesses who are concerned about this are moving. It's just that from a public perspective, we aren't hearing confirmation of that moving or seeing anything. But I think I'm reasonably certain that in the next couple of months we are going to see some of that.
So it begs the next question.
So on a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah,
how certain are you that we have something coming?
I'd say 9.
Offett says we should start to see some clear direction in a couple of months. Cheryl Jan, PGTV News.
Power has been knocked out to about 350 hydro customers on the Heart. Power went out around 4 o'clock this afternoon on Aberdeen, Walker and McTavish roads and on Aintree Drive. One caller to the PGTV newsroom says phone service is out as well. BC Hydro is investigating the cause of the outage and says power should be restored around 6:30 this evening. With only an axe and a compass, some local hikers have cut a path through one of the world's only inland temperate rainforests. It was all done to enable more people to enjoy one of our local gems.
Stretching through a forest of 1,000-year-old cedar trees, the Driscoll Ridge trails are nestled into the heart of the interior rainforest near Slim Creek.
Many characteristics of their coastal rainforests, and dominated by very large cedar, some of them over 3 meters, the largest ones we know of over 4 meters in diameter. And the understory is dominated by Devil's Club. And the forest complex, the flora complex there includes many unique species of lichens and other plants that are just not found anywhere else in the interior.
The trails are a product of hundreds of hours of volunteer labor. They've been developed for families who enjoy the backcountry, although the 17-kilometer Driscoll Ridge loop will challenge even the most experienced hiker.
There's been 26 trips involving about 50 different people, and some of those people have been out there several times. And he estimates about 1,400 hours of time been put into development of these trails, both the nature trail and this Driscoll Ridge trail that goes up over the top.
Trails like these are beginning to be seen as more than just a way to enjoy BC's natural wonders. But these paths through nature are being recognized for their positive economic benefit they can produce. By all accounts, the beauty of these trails could bring tourists into our region.
I think it could grow into one of these things that Prince George or area is known for, because I think that it's got some spectacular things to offer in terms of the ecosystem and the large cedar trees and sort of this area where a lot of different species all mix. Not to say that you're going to see them all at once in one place, but I think it's a pretty special area.
This is the first major backcountry trail to be built in the region over the last several years. Its official opening is Sunday morning at the trailhead, 113 kilometers east of Prince George. Dave Branco, PGTV News.
First, it was trans fats. Now the war on salt is underway. Health Canada will soon recommend Canadians become more vigilant about the amount of sodium in their diets. And that's creating a debate on whether lowering salt consumption would actually benefit most people.
A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, probably a half teaspoon of salt.
Salt. It's not just a spice, it's a necessary nutrient.
If you become very salt depleted, you have a decrease of blood flow to the brain, to the heart, and other important organs in the body.
But the consensus is that North Americans consume far more salt than we need, and 80% of our daily intake comes from packaged foods. People with high blood pressure or hypertension are told to cut back on salt. Hypertension can cause strokes, heart attacks, and kidney failure, and is one of the leading causes of death in Canada. But if you're not hypertensive, is salt bad for you?
We know that if you go to very low levels, you expose yourself to risk. If you go to very high levels, you also expose yourself to risk. But there's a large gray area in between.
Welcome to the salt debate. Government health agencies from the World Health Organization to Health Canada believe that a diet high in sodium leads to high blood pressure, which leads to poor health. Health Canada will change the Canada Food Guide to recommend people avoid foods with high sodium and put the salt shaker away. That has the salt industry fighting back, insisting there's no scientific evidence to support salt reductions across the board.
Blood pressure will go down if they reduce dietary sodium. Your question, of course, was whether that improves their health. There is no evidence that that improves health.
Dr. Charlotte Jones says, of course it improves health.
If we continue the way we're eating so many prepared foods and using too much salt in our diet, probably 80 or 90% of us will become hypertensive.
A large study in which some people eat a low sodium diet while others eat a regular diet would answer these questions. Over many years, doctors could tell if reducing salt intake really does prolong life. But Health Canada says it's already confident that telling Canadians to shake the salt habit is the right thing to do. Maureen Taylor, CBC News, Toronto.
Alan Bristow is next with sports and a story on the rebuilding UNBC Timberwolves. As well, the Montreal Canadiens honor two of their all-time best. Alan Bristow is here now with a chunk of sports for us.
And we begin with hockey. Two big points on the line last night in Quesnel. Both the Spruce Kings and Millionaires were in need of a victory, and it was Quesnel coming out with those 2 points. They win 3-2 in double OT. Roberts and Inglis, the new player for the Spruce Kings, getting a goal in his first game, but Paget with a pair, and Bryn Lindsay scoring the winner in double OT as the Quesnel wins it by 3-2 score. Up next, a busy weekend for the Kings. They'll play 3 games in 2.5 days. Alberta Valley making their one and only stop in northern BC for the game Friday night, 7 o'clock. Kings will host Merritt on Saturday, again a 7 o'clock face-off. Then Sunday afternoon, they'll hook up with Salmon Arm in a matinee beginning at 3 o'clock. As you heard earlier in the newscast, the Cougars will have ice in time for their home opener on Friday. That's one area they don't have to worry about. The Cats brass still has some tough decisions to make. They still have the 5 overage players with room for only 3. The way it looks right now, they could go into the season with those 5 until a deal or deals can be worked out. Up first, though, no matter what, they will play Seattle on Friday night in the CN Center starting at 7 o'clock. Again, they won't have any major logos on the ice due to redoing the ice. Puck drop around 7, probably a little after due to the player introductions. You can catch all the action on 99.3 The Drive. Saturday, they also face off with that same T-Bird team. 2 retired hockey greats with 14 Stanley Cups between them have received a new honor. The Montreal Canadiens are retiring the sweater numbers worn by Hall of Famers Ken Dryden and Serge Savard. Dryden's number 29 and Savard's number 18 will be raised to the ceiling this season. Dryden was clearly emotional as he thanked all those who supported him during his illustrious hockey career.
To the owners, managers and coaches, to the forum staff, to my teammates, to my other teammates, Linda, Sarah, and Michael, to the fans of the Montreal Canadiens, for the memories and feelings you have given me, given us, that will last a lifetime. No, c'est à moi de vous remercier.
Dryden and Savard played on the ice together for the Habs in the 1970s. After his playing career, Savard became general manager of the Canadiens. Dryden is now a Liberal MP in Ontario. The Ottawa Senators got off to another good start. The Sens took care of Sidney Crosby and the Penguins last night. Now this is a new-looking Senator team this year that still has high hopes of winning it all.
The Senators actually kicked off their preseason last night in Halifax with a 5-2 win over Pittsburgh. Ray Emery looked sharp in nets. Danny Heatley had 2 goals, 1 each for Cody Bass, Denny Amell, and Patrick Eves. After spending a week beating up on each other at training camp, the Senators have split their squad in 2 for these early exhibition games. Team 1 got the win last night, a rarity according to Team 2 captain Daniel Alfredson.
I feel good for the first time they win this camp. So it's I watched the last 2 pairs. They played really well, and it's good to see.
On the hot seat tonight will be goaltender Martin Gerber. Signed as a free agent in the offseason, Gerber has looked shaky in training camp. Many are wondering if he can provide the goaltending Dominic Hasek did last year before he got injured.
Oh, you want to be as good as possible every day, but you can't expect just jump off the hop and be on top of your game again. And you just you have to work into it and make small steps every day.
On defense, number 42 is Tom Pricing, over from San Jose to help fill the huge void left by the departure of Zdeno Chara.
It's going to be exciting. We had a inter-squad scrimmage game and we had like 12,000 people there, so I imagine there's going to be a lot more people there tonight.
A lot of eyes will also be on center Alexei Kagorodov, a 22-year-old Russian rookie. He's said to have pretty good hands and will play on a line tonight between Peter Schaefer and Daniel Alfredson.
The Toronto Blue Jays trying to play spoiler tonight as they look to knock off the New York Yankees, who are trying to clinch their 9th straight AL East Division title. Right now, the Jays up 3-1 in the 5th. Roy Halladay started the game left with an undetermined injury. He was on the hook for the loss at that point, but the Jays have rattled off 3 runs. Again, they're up 3-1 in the 5th. Also, Minnesota and Boston, the Twins leading the wild card 4.5 games over Chicago. Right now, that game is tied at 1 in the 6th inning. The UNBC men's basketball team is preparing for the new season. It's a good thing they still have a few weeks before they open play because they need the time to get to know each other.
Programs will definitely be needed for UNBC men's basketball games this year. The men's team is almost completely brand new. They only have 3 returning players from last year, but head coach Zane Robinson doesn't see this as a rebuilding year.
I would call this year a development year for the future. I mean, the new ruling that we're hoping goes through is a 5-year ruling, and that favors us of all the schools the most. So, with our new gym next year, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of clean the slate a little bit with some players and bring some new guys in for developing for this year, and then hopefully for when we have our gym, have a nice looking team.
There is a good reason why Robinson doesn't think this team is starting from scratch.
We have 3 transfers this year, which help with our youth movement, developing our youth movement, so we don't have to put so much pressure on the youth. But we have Chad Pratch, who led the league in assists 2 years ago when he played at UBC Okanagan. We have Jeff Vandola, who played at UBC Okanagan as well, who was second in scoring on their team and second in assists and second in rebounds, so he was one of their better players as well. And we also have Chris Laurie, who played CIS for a year.
UNBC was able to hit the jackpot with 4 recruits coming from right here in Prince George. So far, the 4 players from the AA provincial champion Dutchess Park Condors have looked good. UNBC will see their first action in the preseason in Capilano on the Thanksgiving long weekend. Last year, a solid exhibition season netted them the first place ranking in Canada prior to the season beginning.
I think it'll be tough to match what we did last year, but last year a lot of things went our way in preseason, and we had a lot of close games that we ended up winning. So hopefully we can build on that. The 2 players that we do have, or 3 players that we do have, they learned from that, and I think the one thing the program learned from that, we want to be able to peak a little bit later in the season.
The first time you'll get a chance to use that program and see who all these new players are will be on November the 3rd when the UNBC men host CBC.
Tiger Woods was outraged today at an Irish magazine and a tabloid that linked photos of his wife to various pornography websites, and his agent was studying the merits of a lawsuit. The Dublin magazine wrote in its September issue about Ellen Norgren and others, saying most American golfers are married to women who cannot keep their clothes on in public.
I'm very disappointed in, not the fans, not the people here, not the Irish people, but very disappointed in how the article that was written. My wife, yes, she has been a model prior, and she did do some bikini photos, but to link her to porn websites and the such is unacceptable.
Think they're trying to throw him off of the Ryder Cup?
I think so, yeah. No doubt about it. Thanks, Al. When the PG-TV news continues, Catherine Hansen has a weather forecast for the region. And the story of a Prince George artist who's using the internet to make a living.
This is Kate. Kate is a fatally dangerous flirt. Fortunately, Kate is far less dangerous at Boston Pizza's sports bar because there's always lots of food and plenty of TVs to keep everyone's attention well away from her. For a little while, anyway. Boston Pizza. You're among friends.
This is my credit union, not yours.
I know.
What are you, Mr. Moneybags now? You're gonna get dinged. Huh? Ding, surcharge, double transaction fee, dinged.
Oh, they don't ding me.
Everybody dings you.
I don't get dinged at any credit union.
So my credit union won't ding you?
Nope. And my credit union won't ding you.
He didn't get dinged. We're ding free.
Get access to the second largest full-service ATM network in BC. No surcharges. The power of membership.
Add character, add class. Give your home a personalized sense of style with the help of Windsor Plywood. Look to Windsor for the finishing touches. Spruce up your space with new paints and stains. Add some flavor to your kitchen with interior doors and cabinet accessories. And choosing select moldings and baseboards gives any room that custom touch. Talk to the experts you need to know at Windsor Plywood.
Windsor Plywood, we bring the good life home.
Thursday, October 5th. You live it, you breathe it, we bring it. CBC's Hockey Night in Canada is back.
The fans love it.
On a special night, Thursday, October 5th on CBC Television.
A local man has found a unique way of making it as a professional artist. With the help of his marketing partner and wife, Oliver Ray is making a living selling his paintings and prints. And it's all thanks to the electronic age.
Oliver Ray spends his days painting for a living. Recently, both he and his wife took the jump from full-time jobs to creating and marketing artwork. While Ray calls himself self-taught, the influence of his uncle and great-aunt, who are both artists, was great during his childhood.
And from about the age of 12 on, I probably knew that I wanted to be a professional artist, but I was willing to be a skinny artist, but not a starving artist. So I knew that I had to work along the way. So it's only in the past year that Christy and I have been able to do this full time, but it's been a lifelong thing for me.
He prefers to paint with oil and finishes roughly one painting a week. And they are selling so fast, he's having a hard time building up enough work to hold an exhibit.
It's definitely not realistic. You can tell what the subject is, but it sort of has a rhythm or a flow. I like lots of lines and bright colors. So.
It's an untraditional way for an artist to make a living, but with the help of his wife Christy, Ray markets his original and printed works through the internet. It has eliminated going through galleries, juried exhibits, and art dealers while letting the couple live here in Prince George.
It was always somewhere that we knew that we wanted to live, but obviously being an artist in anywhere is tough, but being an artist away from a major center is also makes it even tougher. But with the website and with the email list, and we also have a stable of stores that we sell prints through, so that's made it a lot easier, so we can ship stuff anywhere from Prince George.
The couple is now preparing for this year's studio fair, where a number of Oliver's originals and prints will be on hand for the public to purchase.
Looks like some pretty nice work there.
Very, very talented artist.
Yeah, nice job. Congratulations.
Turning to weather now, light rain through the day. We're expecting more tonight. The rainfall warning is continued for the Prince George area this evening. Environment Canada says to expect 10 to 15 millimeters of rain on the way. Taking a look now at our current conditions, Mackenzie overcast at 9. Light showers falling in Vanderhoof, McBride, and Quesnel. Over to Prince George now, light rain falling. We're sitting at 9 degrees. Little bit of wind coming in from the west at 13 k's an hour. Mackenzie, tonight periods of rain ending near midnight, then clouds with a 40% chance of rain, a low of 4 degrees on the way. Clouds with sunny periods tomorrow, a high of 11 degrees. Foggy Thursday night and Friday clouds with a high of 14 degrees. A rainfall warning is in effect for Vanderhoof. Expect 10 to 15 millimeters of precipitation and the wind moving in from the northeast this evening, a low of 5 degrees. The rain will taper off tomorrow morning, then expect clouds with a 60% chance of showers, a high of 12 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud for Friday and a high of 14. Over in McBride, periods of rain tonight, 5 to 10 millimeters on the way, a low of 4 degrees. Mix of sun and cloud and a slight chance of rain into the afternoon with an expected high of 9 degrees tomorrow, and then a mix of sun and cloud Friday with a high of 12 on the way. Rainfall warning in effect for the Quesnel area as well. Expect 10 to 15 millimeters overnight, a low of 4 degrees on the way. The rain will taper off in the morning and then sunny periods with a 60% chance of showers into the afternoon. Friday sunshine, an expected high of 12. And in Prince George, again, that rainfall warning is in effect for our area, 10 to 15 millimeters on the way, a low of 5 degrees. The rain tapering off tomorrow morning, then making way for a 60% chance of showers into the afternoon, still overcast there. Taking a look at our 5-day planner, drying up for Friday, but then the rain will make a comeback for Saturday and Sunday. And into next week, looks like we're still going to have some mixed conditions.
Yeah, time to break out the paddles, it looks like. We might need them. Thanks,
Build
Catherine.
an ark.
Build an ark, that's right. Thanks. Boy, I'll tell you, I'm glad they don't have any rain down at the sports pick of the night.
Well, Detroit might wish for some of that. They've been playing so bad lately, but they are winning tonight 2-0 over Chicago. If they lose tonight, Minnesota wins, they'll be out of first.
Wow, that hasn't been that way for a long, long time this season. Here's what's coming up tonight on PG-TV. The CBC News Canada Now coming up next. The Pop-Up Royals tonight at 7:30. And don't forget to join Catherine and Al for the PG-TV News tonight at 11 o'clock. And then join us again tomorrow for the PG-TV News at noon, 5, and 11. Have yourself a great night.
Good night.
Fountain Tire Store manager